What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, we're breaking down what's going on with the overall market and talk about some very important levels on Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some very important news about the markets, what's happening as time goes on, and why you should be very ready for what's about to happen. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. Putting in $25,000 or more guarantees you 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. Now, this offer ends in just 11 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPY, we had something very interesting that went on. You could see that every time this thing pumps, either at 458, we get these rejections. Sometimes it's close to 459, then we reject. Sometimes it's 460 or just under 460, then we reject. This happened again, 459, we rejected. So we tend to have some very, very tough resistance between 459 and 460, even at 458, but we're actually above that right now. So I'm going to be looking to see if SPY is going to reject between 459 and 460. I think there's a very, very good chance that that's going to be what happens, but just to be safe, I would. I'm not giving financial advice when I say this, by the way, guys. But what I would do is I would set a stop very close to this 460 area. You could decide where you want to set it. Whether it's 461, 460.5, it's up to you. Set a stop just to be safe, and then I would enter like a lot of short positions for next week up here if I were to do this. Not saying I'm doing it, I'm just saying like this is a potential trade opportunity. It could push a little bit more, but we tend to have some very, very tough supply up here, and we tend to see these rejections. And if that ends up being the case, if we get a rejection on SPY, one target to take profits, maybe not for tomorrow, but like for next week, right? Could be the 50 EMA. The 4-hour 50 EMA happens to be at 455. And I also want to note that if we hide the extended hours like this, you will notice that SPY also happens to have a gap that's unfilled down there. It's a little hard to see. Let me actually pull this up on the 5 minutes time frame. We basically gapped up today and we have a big gap below. So it's way down here. There's a gap down to like 454.8, almost 455. So that could be a target for next week for us to come back down. Not saying the market's going to crash. We're not going to be worrying about that. For now, we're just going to look at our levels, which are within our range. And you can see we've been range bound for the last couple of weeks, going back and forth between 454 it's about 460. So once again, guys, could SPY pump more? It sure could. But watch resistance right here. If I were to short here, just hypothetically, I'm not giving financial advice, okay? If I short here, I'm going to basically target these highs up here between 459 and 460, anywhere around that area. I would give my shorts many weeks, not just 1 or 2 days. I would give them many weeks, and then I would set a stop just above 460 just to be safe. That's up to you to decide. I'm not going to say everything exactly, and then I'll just wait it out. And I think that there's a good chance that we could get a rejection here and come back down. If we do come down, we're not going to necessarily just crash all the way down. We could come just below our orange trend line and then try to bounce back up. But we could be, targeting the orange trend line, or even just targeting our 50 EMA or that 455 area or the gap fill down here. So that's just one trade idea I had. I don't want to like force you to do anything. I'm not giving any financial advice. This is all just hypothetical. But make sure you watch these levels. Now, as far as SPY goes, watch resistance between 458 to 460, then watch support at 457.5. If it breaks below that, we have 456.5 as our next level. And if that breaks, we're going to be testing this orange trend line in the 455s. That could be like a take profit level. Non financial advice. I'm just giving you guys an idea if that's helpful. Not going to do this all the time, just once in a while when I see opportunities like this. For Tesla, I had this drawn out basically yesterday. I was talking about how Tesla could like kind of pop and drop, and we might get a test of our green trend line and try to bounce, or we could just drop and test the trend line and then start sinking down. I expected us to test the trend line. We came very close to doing so today. You guys could see the green trend line of support. Tesla held support, so there could be a little pop coming to Tesla, could make it one more attempt to get back to 242. But if SPY starts to drop back down, we could see Tesla sink a little bit more and backtest this 238 area for a little drop. And we'll see if that holds, if we hold the green trend line. If we lose this, we could turn a bit more bearish, so we'll be watching this very carefully. Tesla also still has the head and shoulders like structure. There's no sign that Tesla is going to bounce yet. So we'll just have to see if we hold the green trend line or not. But I have two possibilities drawn out of what Tesla could do. I anticipate like a little pop and drop like move, and we'll see if we bounce off the green trend line to push up higher like this, or if we reject from the green trend line and just start sinking, that could lead to more bearish outcomes. But look for a pop and drop in Tesla. I think it's going to retest 238 soon, and we'll see if it holds support or not. As far as Nvidia goes, Nvidia has been holding up decently. It's testing this resistance, but be very careful on Nvidia, because you could argue that we have this resistance right here, very close to this 465 area. If we break that, there's 468. We could pop a little bit more than reject, kind of like reject from here, but watch this imbalance below around 457. We could see Nvidia pop and drop. Watch resistance. It could end up rejecting. There's a good chance of that potentially happening. Now, Apple is still looking decent so far. We got another push on Apple, which is kind of surprising. I thought Apple would kind of like decline a little bit more. We got this decline yesterday, but then today we got a full recovery, which kind of surprised me. Anyways, when it comes to the way Apple's moving, we're holding this resistance. If it breaks 195, not 4, 195, you want to see this thing try to get up to about 197. It could push up one more time and help SPY push a little bit higher before we get some kind of rejection between 196 and 197. That is the historical weekly resistance to be watching for on Apple. So if 195 breaks, we could be pushing a little higher and then reject, or we could reject off 195. It all depends on the numbers coming out for tomorrow. We have a lot of unemployment numbers. We have the unemployment rate and payrolls coming out. So will we see a move kind of like this where we get this rejection off that area? Or do we get one more push up for tomorrow? Do we push up into this range and then we see this thing slowly decline? It's got to be one of those two. It might push a little bit more than reject, or just push up higher than reject. Either way, I see a move like that coming out for Apple. On top of that, for the QQQ, this made a bullish move. I told you if you want to be bearish on the triple Q, we need to see it lose 383.75. And I told you to be bullish if you want to see it get back above 388. What happened? We broke above 388. We're approaching our resistance. Don't forget the QQQ has tight resistance between 391 and like 393. Sometimes they went a little higher than that, but for the most part, it's between that range, especially around 391. So we're at resistance technically. So the QQQ could push a little higher than reject, or we could just try to break out. This is another good opportunity. So we'll see if this thing kind of like hits this level and then rejects like this, or if this thing kind of like pushes up a little bit more after the data comes out tomorrow, and then going into next week, we get this like rejection, right? So I'm seeing a trade potential opportunity here. It's up to you to decide where you want to like enter and etc. But I'm just making it clear there's some opportunity on the QQQ. And finally, I think that's pretty much it for the time being. I went over the main five. For the market, we're in a very, very interesting state. We're still holding up decently, but excuse me, there's a chance that something big could happen tomorrow, because we have in the morning the payrolls data. I'll be talking more about that, not to mention other things like that. So please be very careful, guys. Do what you have to do, and I'll be talking more about the data in my next video. Thank you, and peace out.